Thank you for staying with us here at the third round of the Victorian Trophy Tour, live from Winton Motor Raceway. We love coming up to this part of the woods around this time of year. For a number of years, it was an event that was run in the winter months of sort of late June, early July, and it became very, very cold and very, very wet and very, very unappealing for a lot of drivers. So when it was moved into the early reaches of May, it was very much a favourite for a lot of drivers that love this circuit. But unfortunately for them, they might cop a little bit of that bad weather tomorrow. So they've got to make the most of what's going on today. We're not too far away from Formula V taking to the track. My name's Steve DeVries. About to jump in alongside me is Tom Reed, who's been calling the action alongside myself for the last couple of seasons following the departure of Dan McCarthy. Tom, you've filled that void very, very nicely. It is a big weekend for Formula V because not only is it the third round of the championship as we know it, also the Australian Series starts this weekend. It is round number one of a 4-round national series. So that means we've got some interstate competitors that have joined the fray, and they're pretty quick.
Yeah, absolutely, Steve. A good afternoon to everyone here at Winton Motor Raceway and watching live, of course, on Blendline TV. Very keen to get this big field of 24 cars rolling out of the dummy grid very soon for, like you said, the first round of the National Championship, but the third round of the Victorian Club Championship. And there's three, you could say, interstate invaders that have taken out the top 3 spots in qualifying this morning.
Yeah, they locked it out pretty comprehensively. It's some of the familiar names, at least 2 of them on the front row that we've heard many, many times before in Michael Kinsella and Simon Pace. So the 2 New South Welshmen are going to be off the front row. Alex Bezic, who's come all the way down from Queensland. Great to have him with us here in Victoria. He's the clubhouse leader in the Queensland Championship. He's going to start out of position number 3 alongside the current Victorian points leader, Ash Quiddington, who was the only one that could really sort of hold a candle to those top 3 that have come and invaded us for this weekend. The other interstate competitors that are here this weekend are Daniel Reynolds. He's going to start out of position 5. He, of course, hails from the ACT. And then a bit further down the order, you've got to go all the way down to position number 17 to find the other Queenslander in the field, Matthew Harriott. And for those eagle-eyed viewers, when you see that car out here on the circuit and you think you've seen that car before, you will be absolutely right. It is in the livery that was last competed in when it was in the hands of one and only Lee Partridge. So if it looks familiar to you, that's where you've seen it before.
Yep, a very striking livery there in the Repsol colours, I believe.
Correct.
The car that changed colours multiple times throughout its journey.
Yep, had about 4 or 5 different liveries throughout the course of a season and came very close to winning a Victorian Championship in that year that he went toe-to-toe with Ash Quiddington back in 2024.
Yeah, absolutely. Outstanding racing like we always see in Formula Vs as the cars head out onto the track now, warming the tyres left and right, getting heat through the rim, which ultimately heats the tyre up and the brakes here. So we've got the outlap here with 24 cars taking to the grid, which is an outstanding effort from all involved.
Certainly is. We had 24 drivers take part in qualifying. There was 25 scheduled to start, and we're just waiting to see whether or not the Charlie Richardson, number 18, due to start off the rear of the grid according to our running sheets, actually does make it out there. They did discover a cracked gearbox mount during qualifying prep this morning, so we'll wait and see from there. Here's how the grid shapes up. So we mentioned the 2 New South Welshmen on the front row, Kinsella and Pace. Bezic out of Queensland, Quiddington, the first of the Victorians, in 4th. Daniel Reynolds from the ACT in 5th. He's alongside Blake Purvis. So Blake's had a little bit of an off in Friday practice, but it was very, very minor. And he's right hot on the heels in terms of pace in qualifying, right behind Daniel Reynolds, less than half a tenth in it. The reigning 2025 Victorian champion, Andre Curran, starts out 7th. Alongside him is Ash Clifford in 8th.
So turning the page now to Malachi Winter in one of the Acura Motorsport cars there. Car number 88, position 9. He rolls off from for the first race here. Then we go to Nathan Jones, Grant Kelly in car 93, Brock Hamilton there in the 11 off position 12, Declan Collinson, Cameron Bell, another regular in the Victorian Championship, Jason Kay and Mitchell Quiddington there in 16th.
Yeah, welcome back, Mitch Quiddington in 16th. It's been a good decade since we saw him out on the circuit. Matt Harriott, we mentioned there in the ex-Lee Partridge car in 17th. Alongside him is Mick Fisher. Darren Power and David Temmie, the two cars there out of the Acura stable. Ken Morrison, Corey Horder, Matt Ganji, who's in the 1200 class car there in 23rd, ahead of Ivan Vitti, who had a couple of challenges in the qualifying session this morning where he only did 3 laps. And then Charlie Richardson, the car that we're just mentioning there she is on screen. The Jackal fencing machine. There's actually car number 16, not 18 on our records there. She's going to manage to take to the back of the grid. I think they've actually just added a little bit of tape there to turn it in from car 16 to car 18. I think there's a collision there with Matt Harriott from Queensland in terms of the numbering, because she's normally number 16 in the Victorian Championship. So you can see the little bit of the bodge job they've made there to turn that 6 into an 8. And she looks like she's okay to start off the rear of the grid.
Away from the wall!
So the last few cars just lining up here on the grid at the back of the shot there. Simon Pace just wipes a little bit of any little remnants that might be there on his visor. He's going to start on the outside, which is, it's not the racing line on the right-hand side of the grid there, the left-hand side of your shot. You can see where all the rubber is. It's right where Kinsella is positioned in position number 1. The racing line naturally swings out to the right-hand side on the approach to turn number 1. We'll see if he gets a good start and is able to move over and cover off any advances from the number 50. Waiting at the back. Oh, very quick hold, and off we go.
So here we go for race number 1 of the Australian Vita Performance Formula V National Challenge here at Winton. And a big lock up there from car number 1, the reigning Victorian champion, sends the young car 6 there off the road, and he's going to drop a number of positions down through the back of the field.
Yeah, didn't quite see what happened there. Blake Purvis, who was the unfortunate innocent party in that one, as Andre Kieran, who had a very good launch, comes steaming through. Looked like there was a little bit of contact there, and it sent the number 6 off the road. Out in front, though, it was actually a much better start from Simon Pace compared to Michael Kinsella. He actually had a good, clear 1-car margin before they even got to turn number 1 and turned in comfortably with the lead. Here is the number 1 of Andre Kieran there, pressuring the back of Ashton Clifford. Malachi wins up the 88 there. He's now, looks like he's dropped a little bit of time, a little bit of spots there. Brock Hamilton has had a ripper start. He's actually made up, I think, about 2 spots there. Now trying to get close to the rear gearbox of Windsor's 88.
So out on turn number 9 for the first time here. Race 1 down the old back straight, turn left here on to the slightly newer part of the circuit. Head down what is now the new back straight. Just taking a look through the rest of the field there. Brock Hamilton leading the way from Grant Kelly in that battle. And then we go to car 30 there of Nathan Jones, one of the factory Sabre machines, making a big lunge under brakes. In fact, he's gone a little bit deep there, locked the inside front, but just managed to keep it on the track there at turn number 11.
Yeah, that'll cost him a little bit of time relative to...
Oh, no, the blue car's broken down.
Yeah. You know, the red ones break down too. The green ones, the brown ones.
Yeah, but the yellow ones come to the rescue.
Turn 1, there's this big long train of cars here now piled up behind the number 31 there of Declan Collison.
And here comes Blake Purvis, who's made a charge back through the field there, getting past car number 12 of Ashley Whittington, who seems to be
he's stunk like
back
a stone.
A long way.
Yeah, something's not right.
Definitely, yeah, he's off the pace for sure in that car.
Yeah, something's not right there with the number 12. He has sunk like a stone. That's critical for his championship. He's going wheel to wheel here with Matt Harriott fighting on the outside of turn number 4. He'll have the inside here for the big long sweep of this really technical corner at turn number 5. Oops, did someone just exit stage right there? It was a bit hard to spot as they came through the sweep up. No, it looks like that's all okay. Looks like it just might have been a bit of an optical illusion there as the camera quickly swung and picked up the cars coming through turn number 5. But Whittington at the moment of the Ash variety struggling a little bit.
So a fair bit going on here in the opening lap and a half of the Formula V race here at Winton, with Whittington falling down the field. Blake Purvis making a recovery after that slight collision there at the start with car number 1 of Andre Kieran. So he's making his way back through the field. We take a shot here. I think this is the battle for 2nd and 3rd. So
and
the second step on the podium, and we've got Daniel Reynolds closing in. Up the road there, though, is Simon Pace, who seems to have skipped away to a 2nd margin out front with the fast lap last time by of a 35.2.
Yep, little under a second separates 1st and 2nd. Kinsella in the 35 there, being pressured very, very heavily now by the number 26 of Alex Bezic. as they come up and over this rise in the old front straight down the hill into turn number 3 and 4. Then we go a little bit further back. Behind Daniel Reynolds is Andre Curran in 5th. Ahead of Clifford Windsor Hamilton, who's on screen here, ahead of Grant Kelly. So Brock Hamilton started out of position 12, so he's made a 4-spot gain in the opening 2 laps, which is very, very healthy. There was a red flag in qualifying, which was for Mitch Whittington when he came to a halt after having a small spin, and that sort of upset the apple cart for a few drivers. They were a little bit further down the order at that time than they otherwise would have liked to have been. Brock was one of those, and with the limited running that came after the red flag was withdrawn and the session resumed, some of them couldn't quite get back up the order to ideally where they wanted to be starting in this first race. So Brock's had to fight hard, and he's had to get past the likes of Grant Kelly and Nathan Jones that are here, and Campbell and Ash Whittington, who's somehow managing to hold down position number 12 at the moment.
There was a late move there from car 30 down the inside, looking to get past Grant Kelly, who seems to be bottled up a little bit behind. Car 11 there of Brock Hamilton, those guys dicing for the spots just inside the top 10, but this battle for the lead has closed up again with Pace perhaps making an error on that lap, because he did have a second margin last time by the stripe, and a change for the race lead. Kinsella to the race lead here. A big lock up there from car 26 of Beswick from Queensland. He runs a little deep into turn 1 and relinquishes quite a big gap there to car 50. Up the inside goes Daniel Reynolds, the reigning Australian and challenge champion.
Certainly is. He pounces on the number 26 of Beswick down into turn number 3. Man who won the Formula V Australian Series last year, contested all of the rounds. He was one of 2 competitors to contest all of the rounds in the 1600 class. It is a case in the Australian Series that there are 4 rounds listed. You can attend as many of them as you want, but you will drop your worst round. So if you do 3 of the 4 and you don't attend the 4th, then you will of course drop 0 points. But if you attend all 4 of them, you are going to drop your worst round of point score. And Daniel was one of the couple of competitors that did all 4 of the rounds last year, and he walked away with the honours. This year, the first event, of course, is this weekend. In a couple of weeks from now, the Australian Series moves to a round at Sydney Motorsport Park at the end of May, so that's May 30th and 31st. June 27, there's a trip across the Nullarbor to Perth for those that are willing to take it, and then there's a bit of a wait until the 7th and 8th of November for the final round up in Queensland.
So a challenge down the inside, and it's broken the left front there of car 26. Big dramas as he runs into the back of Daniel Reynolds. So a massive error there from Alex Beswick, who just came in a little too hot there into the penultimate corner. He's pulling off to the side. You can see the damage to the front left of his car also.
Yeah, tie rod there on the front left corner, as you said, they're broken. Reynolds stricken now on the outside of turn number 11. He manages to get it going. He was just waiting for a gap in the traffic to see if he could pull out safely. And he'll be checking that car just to make sure it feels okay.
Oh, yeah.
I can see there's a little bit of, rear right-hand side. You can actually see quite a bend in one of the supporting arms there. So it probably will be a little bit mishandling for Reynolds, but importantly for him, he needs to keep going because he needs to put some points on the board, because there's only 3 races. You need to bank as many points as possible. So he'll be feeling that car out, trying to make sure that he'll be able to get it home safely. But he'll be waiting to see whether or not Alex Beswick, and yes, he has. He's been able to get that car to pit lane, so that's important for some green flag running here to continue in this first race. Here's the replay. Reynolds on the outside, the preferred racing line, turned in, not realising that that Beswick was closing in fast. Thought that the corner might have been his, and a little bit of a calamitous coming together there. A little bit awkward for the 2 of them. It's cost Reynolds some points and position, and it's cost Beswick his remaining track time.
Well, what it has allowed, though, is Kinsella and Simon Pace at the front of the field to skip away. So these 2 can battle, knowing that there will be no one in their mirrors unless Andre Curran finds a little bit of pace in car number 1 there. So they know that they can battle all race long. We've got 6.5 minutes to go, and I'm sure those guys at the front will put on some cracking racing. Here's car 6 of Blake Purvis, who had that off at turn number 1. He's making his way back through the field. In fact, he's already up to position number 9 behind car 12 there of Ashley Whittington. So these guys dicing for the final spots inside the top 10. Just up the road there is Cameron Bell, Brock Hamilton and Grant Kelly, who's actually managed to get back past the car 11 there.
This is important for the number 12, Ash Whittington. He came into the series round 3 here with a very, very slender margin over Andre Curran. It's only 10 points. It'll be something very, very similar in the Victorian Trophy Tour Championship as well. So every point that he can grab here in this first race now on this fight back is very, very critical, because Curran's picked up 4 spots from where he started this race. He's up in 3rd. Whittington's down in 9th. So that would actually be a point swing massively in favour of Curran. In fact, it'll probably actually go very close to getting them on level terms in terms of points for the series this year. Down the inside with authority. Number 12. And some more contact. Bell. There goes the nose cone. Got run over as well. He got a double whammy there. Not only was there some contact from Whittington going down the inside of the number 12, of the number 4, sorry, but when he spun around, he also took the nose cone off the Cameron Bell machine as well. So more contact in this race. They're leaving it nothing on the table here in Formula V for the opening round of, or the opening race of the 3rd round of the series.
It's quite bizarre how much the drivers have been running into each other for the first race here, but once those wheels interlocked, there was no way of really getting them undone without contact there, and we saw the left front just run over the right rear there. So unfortunate for Whittington, who's he seemed to pick up the pace again. He's fallen back to 9th or 8th at the moment. His last time by, he did a 36.0, and the leads out the front are doing 35. So there still might be a slight issue with that car, but it seems to have picked up a little bit more pace as he's running in position number 8 now.
Here's his namesake, the number 19 here of Mitch Whittington. We actually have to differentiate between the two of them now. It's been a better part of a decade since Mitch Whittington came out to have a play. He still is the lap record holder at Phillip Island, surprisingly. It goes all the way back to 2016 or 2017, I believe the record was when he set it way back then. So it's great to have him back out. Here is that move up at turn number 7. Bell was on the outside there. Gave him plenty of room too, and Whittington just, it looked like from that angle he was almost trying to assume the normal racing line, but every inch Bell was on his outside.
Just a clumsy incident there up at turn number 7.
And
but
Bell's going to be a little bit of a cork in a bottle here as well, because he's in a process of being lapped by the race leaders, because here comes I apologise there. I actually thought the race leaders had gone through. It's the recovering Daniel Reynolds. Completely forgotten that he'd had that incident up at turn number 11.
Also with the wounded car there with the rear right damage, Cameron Bell just runs off, and perhaps he's yielding position.
I should say he's getting off the circuit to allow the faster traffic to go through, because he doesn't want to be a bit of a, as I said, the cork in the champagne bottle there. But he's doing what Whittington did Ash Whittington did a couple of years ago, running what we call the air-cooled sabre. That's minus the front nose. So you're getting a nice breeze on your feet there as it goes all the way through the footwell and all the way through the pedal box. And he'll be a little bit... won't be as aerodynamically efficient, but won't be breaking a sweat, I think, by the time he gets back to pit lane.
No, but a car that is aerodynamically efficient is car 6 here of Blake Purvis, who's still battling with Ashley Whittington here for the position spots just inside the top 10, in fact, for 8th and 9th. And these guys going gearbox to nose cone through 3 and 4 over the old back straight. They're going to have a little bit of lap traffic to contend with as they come out on turn 4, taking a shot back at the leaders, though. It's a pretty close margin at the front. There's 3/10 last time by at the stripe, but visually you can see it's only a couple of car lengths between Kinsella there and Pace in the car behind car number 50 from New South Wales.
Certainly is down to turn number 10. Jaser out in front, Checkmate running in second. They're the two models on your screen there. That's one of the big beauties about Formula V, is there's a nice tight set of regulations with a little bit of technical freedom in there for a couple of areas. And over the course of the long 60-year history that is Formula V, you could go and build a car to those regulations and build as much of it as you wanted from a body shape point of view, as long as you met all the requirements around the Volkswagen engine, motor, all the various parts of the suspension, the H-beams out in front. There are some freedoms that are in there, but it just makes it look appealing when you look at some of these different cars. It's no different, I guess, into Formula 4 days where, we saw all those different makes and models, but the common ones we're seeing these days, as you said, the Megale and the Spectrums, they're the ones that are sort of, the Duratec classes. We can see off the road there goes Simon Pace. just as we were talking about the different makes and models, he makes a mistake there on the exit of turn number 3, that part of the circuit where they reprofiled it some years ago, inviting the drivers to have a much bigger crack at going down the inside and making a passing move and keeping the mid-corner speed up, and he makes a mistake there at a very, very easy part of the circuit to do it.
Inviting the drivers to carry a little bit more speed, but it will punish you if you run wide of those sawtooth curves, which are quite abrasive here at Winton. Multiple different curve profiles, especially through the fast left-handed sweeper there with the sawtooth on the entry and more of your typical sausage curve style. But I saw pace. He was fighting that car through turn 1 and 2 just moments before he ran off, so I can't help but wonder if the car's perhaps fading towards the end of the race. They're heating up the tyres a little bit too much.
Yeah, depending on how they've set those pressures to start with, maybe they've overpressured a little bit, so the car's sliding around a little bit as the race gets more and more towards its conclusion. This is starting to close up very nicely here. Hamilton's going to have to do some defending over the course of the next lap or so, because he was in the mid-37s and the two behind him were in the mid-36s last time around. So the pace of the number 6 Joust Raceware Sabre 02 and the number 12 machine behind, they have really got the edge on Hamilton here, and there goes Blake Purvis down the inside of turn number 11 on Brock Hamilton. Will Quiddington give the number 11 the same short back and sides here on the run down to turn number 1, or he's just going to bide his time and have another go maybe at a different part of the circuit? No, he's having a look here down the insides. Hamilton sees him coming and sidesteps the argument. Yep, Hamilton realises there's 2 races left tomorrow, which is you don't want to risk the car in the early stages of the weekend. He relinquishes that spot and goes back to position number 9, and these guys are going to try and get onto the back of Grant Kelly. Not sure if this is the last lap or not. Didn't quite see a board as we went past the control line there. But Grant Kelly running in position number 6 behind him, the recovering Purvis, and car 12 there of Ashley Quiddington, who in fact started off position number 4. So quite a big drop in position there for car 12. Yeah, it's a big recovery drive from Quiddington to minimise any pain and points lost in the local championship here for the Victorian Trophy Tour. His nearest rival in the championship's up in 3rd, and right now he is in 8th place. Here is your race leader, the number 35, Mock Kinsella. Is it checkered flag this time around, or is it last lap this time around? There is the last lap board. That confirms it for the number 35 and the reigning 1600 class national challenge champion. He's a 5-time champion, and he picked up his 5th one last year at the Bend Motorsport Park. Him and Matthew Pearce, who the 1200 classes, they joined the 5-time club, and that's Reynolds, and he's come to a stop on the inside there. Oh, and wow. Collinson. What is going on? Yeah, there's everyone's got the yips, I think, as the race drags on. It's been going for 10 laps. There's going to be 11 by the time the leader comes around. So Collinson with a mistake there at turn number 11. Daniel Reynolds, I think, pulled off into the infield. That'll be that suspension that was a bit bent, has finally given up on him. That he actually came in at turn number 3. There he is. You just saw a flash of that white, black and red checkmate sitting on the infield there, as the number 12 of Ash Quiddington goes through. He's trying to pursue the number 6 here of Blake Purvis, who might have a shot, I think, here at Grant Kelly potentially, maybe coming down to turn number 11 as Ken Morrison there in the Spectre gets out of the way there. He's a lap down to all of this traffic. Maybe Purvis could potentially get one more spot here if Kelly doesn't play his cards right. Whoop, there we go. He actually loses the spot. He actually went high looking for the over and under for a drag out of turn number 9 towards 10. Quiddington seized on that opportunity. He can now play some defence on the inside here to turn number 10, and he gets that spot done. Kinsella's across the line. That's a win for him as of right now. There he goes. So he starts the series off in great fashion. We've actually gone red flag too as well, so I'm a bit surprised. There's I can't see any reason why that would have happened, but this fight's still going on down the field. I think they've all just seen what's going on. It's a slight timing glitch from what we hear, that it was a red shown accidentally for a few seconds. As this fight goes right to the line, Kelly actually holds on for what is position number 6, so he survived that last late onslaught from Purvis and Quiddington. Holds on to P6 Here's Mick Fisher. Darren Power glued to his rear gearbox. They're coming down to the last couple of corners here. This is for position 16 and 17. And Mick's going to have to do a little bit of defending here from the 33. As the 44 of Darren Power just applies the blowtorch for the last couple of corners. It's all going to be in vain, though. Fisher's going to hang on to that 16th position. Great job by Mick there. I believe that might be all of the cars across the line, save for maybe one or two. There's Charlie Richardson. She finished ahead of those two by the look of it. She actually picked up some good spots there. She started 25th and she's finished 15th, so that's a good drive from her. And probably, I think, the most positions gained out of everybody in the field. So here's your finishing results. At the end of the day, a mistake from Simon Pace gave it to Michael Kinsella and a little bit of a canter at the end there.
Well, it was quite a bizarre race with a lot of incidents going on throughout the field. But yeah, Kinsella ultimately coming home with a 5-second margin there over Simon Pace. But it wasn't all his way the whole race. Pace did fight him in the opening parts there. Kieran, the reigning Victorian champ, coming home in third. Ashley Clifford in fourth. Malachi Windsor fifth. Grant Kelly doing a good job in position 6. Quiddington recovering to 7th. Same can be said for Blake Purvis there in 8th. Brock Hamilton and Jason Kay rounding out the top 10.
Certainly is. Mitch Quiddington finishing 11th there ahead of Nathan Jones and Declan Collison, the two Factory Sabre Racing Team cars. Matt Harriott picked up a couple of spots there as he comes to grips with that new car that he's only had for a very short period of time, ahead of Charlie Richardson, Mick Fisher, Darren Power, David Temmie out of the Acura stable there, Cam Bell and Corey Horter. And then over the page, the other two to finish were Matt Ganji and Ken Morrison. Ivano Vitti has also finished the race, but he was a little bit further behind. And then the retirees there, Alex Bezic and Daniel Reynolds, didn't see the checkered flag. Now, it's customary in the Australian Series that all the drivers are going to have to go off and get weighed, so none of the Formula Vs will be going back to their garages just yet. They've got to go to the scales and get all of that done to make sure everything's official before any points are awarded. And we are not going to see them again today. We'll see them tomorrow at 10 a.m. for race number 2.
So that'll be a 20-minute race tomorrow morning. Hopefully these guys can get some rest and recovery. I think a little bit too much red cordial before this afternoon's first race. We had multiple dramas, but in the end of the day, it was Michael Kinsella taking home the first race there from Simon Pace. That will be it for Formula Vs for their first race. Third round of the Victorian Club Championship. First round for the Australian Championship. But up next, we will have the National Sports Sedans for their first race. A 17 minutes plus 1 lap affair. The big bangers take to Winton Motor Raceway here for round number 3 of the Victorian Trophy Tour. Don't go anywhere.